Hey guys, it's Taylor back with Life with Taylor, and today it's Reading Reddit Monday, so we gotta read Reddit. Let's get into it. Alright, we are going to be reading Am I Overreacting stories. So let's see if these people are overreacting. Am I overreacting for breaking up with my girlfriend over this? I, 24 male, recently broke up with my girlfriend, 23 female, after about a year together. And now some mutual friends are saying I was too harsh, so I'm honestly questioning myself. Early on in the relationship, I made it clear that I value communication and respect for boundaries. I'm not controlling, I just don't like feeling dismissed or talked over. Okay. She agreed that she said she appreciated that about me. Over time, though, she started doing things that bothered me and brushing it off when I brought it up. For example, she would cancel plans last minute without explanation, make jokes about my expense in front of other people, and go silent for days whenever she was upset instead of talking things through. Every time I tried to address it calmly, she said I was too sensitive or that I was making a big deal out of nothing. I started feeling like my feelings didn't matter unless they aligned with hers. The breaking point was that she made a pretty personal comment about me during a group hangout that really embarrassed me. I told her privately afterward that it hurt and asked her not to do that again. She laughed and said, "If you can't handle a joke, that's on you." At that point, I told her I didn't feel respected in the relationship anymore and I wanted to break up. She immediately flipped the script, saying I was abandoning her and that I never really loved her, and that I was selfish for not trying harder. Since the breakup, she's been telling people that I blindsided her and that I left over one joke, even though this was something I brought up multiple times over months. Now I'm getting messages from friends saying I should have sucked it up or given her another chance, so am I overreacting for ending the relationship instead of trying to make it work again? Here's the issue in this situation. Sometimes I feel like I need more context. I don't know. I feel like something happens, like this person, I don't know. Like they could be saying they're trying to address it calmly, or like they're saying they're doing this, but they could be doing something else. I feel like sometimes people blame others for something that they're actually doing. Like they're almost projecting or overreacting, I guess. I don't know. I have it in my head. I just don't know how to explain it. Like I need the backstory. I need like more context on this person's end because I feel like I'm not given enough information. Like this person could be saying she's doing this, it's her fault, I ended it because she did this, when in reality it may have been, their fault, this person's fault. But let's look at the comments because I'm not really sure how to explain what I'm thinking. But I also feel like if this actually did happen and they're trying to say, I didn't like this, could you please not do that again, like trying to be vocally communicative, and this person is shutting it down, being like, if you can't take a joke, go cry. Yeah, that's definitely, you're not overreacting. But let's look at the comments. Somebody said, "You are not overreacting. These are red flags most people ignore and end up spending years with the same person in an unfulfilled relationship before learning what went wrong. If she cannot respect your feelings, well, that's a foundation crushed, and making jokes at your expense and having you react is absolutely not you being sensitive, rather her insensitivity towards you and your needs being neglected all the time. You have absolutely made the right decision to leave her. I hope you find someone who treats you the way you deserve. I also think your friends are deluded. Sorry." Yeah. People are saying you did the right thing. You're not overreacting. Yeah, I think if this actually did happen and it went exactly like this, I think you're not overreacting. But, I have to think on like different sides, kind of get both points of view to make, a conclusion, because sometimes, one person could be saying, oh, it was all their fault. The other person could be saying, no, this is what actually happened. You just need more context. But if this actually did happen, you're not overreacting. Alrighty. Am I overreacting for getting upset with my longtime friend after her daughter didn't show up to my son's birthday party? Okay. I, female 40s, I've had a close friend, female 40s, since we were teenagers. After my divorce, we became much closer. I live about an hour away from her, but for the last 5 years, I've always been the one to drive her. Both for friendship and because she's my esthetician, lashes, brows, and occasional hair. We saw each other about every other week, usually hanging out after appointments, getting drinks or dinner, or spending time at her house. She has never been willing to come to mine. Over the years, our kids started spending time together. My son recently turned 16, and I threw him a birthday party at my home. I thought this was like below the age of 10. But okay, Whatever. He invited my friend's daughter, let's call her Penny, who is a bit older, already licensed, and drives daily. My son had developed a crush on her, and they began chatting regularly. Penny told him during the week leading up to the party that she would be there. The party was from 3 to 10? A 7-hour party? Well, I guess I've never had a birthday party, but I mean, if I did, it would not be 7 hours. I've actually, you know what? I take that back. I did have one. It was like an hour long. We did like an activity together, but not 7 hours. They had games set up on a projector, food, etc. As the party went on, my son kept telling me he didn't want to cut the cake until Penny arrived. Around that point, I called my friend just to check in and ask if Penny was still coming since he was waiting for her. Her response surprised me. She got snippy and said, "I never said she could drive over there." I got upset because the party had been discussed in detail ahead of time and Penny had clearly told my son she was coming. If she was ever allowed to drive, I wish my friend had told me sooner so expectations could be managed. I told her that constantly changing plans and never being willing to come to my home had been hurtful over time and that this situation was especially upsetting because my son was hurt. At that point, she completely flipped and started yelling at me, bringing up a list of unrelated things she disliked about me that had never been mentioned before. We no longer speak. She believes I'm the only one with a problem and that I overreacted, so am I the arsehole for being upset and confronting her about this? I don't think so, but also, like, did Penny tell her mom, hey, I said yes to going to this, or hey, can I go to this so I can tell, I think it's a communication problem, but the fact that she started flipping out and like bringing up unrelated hurtful things, it's probably best that you don't talk to her, and I feel bad for the son, but I don't think you're overreacting. You calmly asked, is Penny coming over still, and she kind of flipped out. But let's look at the comments. Not overreacting. This is sad. I feel bad for your son. Wow, neither you nor your son need people like this in your life. We haven't communicated since this. What I find odd is my friend thinks I owe her an apology for explaining my disappointment to her about this. No, I don't think so. I think she needs to stop being so angry and narcissistic, self-absorbed, lashing out, I don't know, any of those. Because you called her out on the truth, and a lot of people, strangely, are so insecure they can't handle it. She's not your friend. Clock it. Alrighty. Holy shit, this is a whole story. Oh my god, okay. Hold on, I need some water before I read this. Alrighty. Okay. Am I overreacting for taking a break from my boyfriend after he ripped through a whole turkey at our family Thanksgiving? When I read this title, I was envisioning, this guy just, ripping through a turkey, like a caveman, but let's figure this out, I guess. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been dating for almost 2 years and living together for 6 months now. I met him through a friend at my house party and we immediately hit it off. He was almost exactly like a guy I wanted. Extremely tall and huge, witty with jokes, kind and well dressed, and he was absolutely buffed. We vibed throughout the party and exchanged numbers at the end. He's met my family a couple of times after we moved in together and they absolutely love him. My grandparents host Thanksgiving dinner almost every year and we were both invited to it. I thought it would have been lovely to make him meet with them and my other family members too, since my uncle's family would be there too. That was a weird sentence. Do these people not proofread what they write? He had to drop his sister off at his parents' house, 2-hour drive, and pick me up from our house. It was a 1.5-hour drive to my grandparents' house. Everyone was happy to meet him and it seemed like they really liked him until we sat down for dinner. We said our grace and Grandpa carved the turkey, started to pass it around the table. It was a regular sized turkey like we have for every Thanksgiving, enough to feed 12 and still have leftovers. We were 10. Both of us were sitting at the end of the table next to Grandpa, so my BF was the last one to get it. There was still a lot of it left because everyone took only a little and would pass around again for some more after some time. He placed it right next to him and started digging through the entirety of it. He was so profuse, as my nephew said later, gobbling it up. I told him quietly to go easy, but he did not listen. He started saying how good it was, and my grandma had a huge smile on her face. He was eating the turkey, and my grandpa said, "Boy, someone really likes turkey." Everyone laughed, but it got to a point where everyone was talking about it. He did not take any hint and shrugged it off like a teenager. My face turned red from the embarrassment, and I could see everyone judging us so hard. I could hear my uncle and his wife making unfunny jokes about it. It was finished without getting to anyone with no leftovers. My BF is a gym freak. He spends ridiculous amounts of time and money on working out, eating protein-rich meals, online courses, etc. Okay, I mean, that's good. I admire people who actually, hit their protein levels. I don't keep track. But I think there is a point to where it's like, whoa, you're kind of like really strict about this. And I feel like I'm getting the vibe from him. He set a protein limit that he hits every day, sometimes over it, but never under. He also gets his protein from just meals, no supplements, so he is used to having large meals. It has never been a problem with me, and I respect his way of living, if not love it. We cook together all the time, and I'm not in the mood. He happily makes... Wow. And if I'm not in the mood, he happily makes a meal for me. He won't even let me contribute in grocery expenses. Because of him, I started eating healthy and felt a lot better about my lifestyle. That's great. After the dinner, when we got into a fight while driving home, he said he had been driving all day and didn't eat anything after breakfast, so he had to hit his protein, and that he wasn't enjoying it after some time and had to just shove it down the throat. I think sometimes you need to give yourself some grace, some leniency. I think taking like one day, maybe hitting a little under your protein goal or not hitting your protein goal at all, I think that's fine. I said if he was that hungry, I would have happily made him a meal after we had gotten home, but now everyone in my family is going to talk about how you finished something made for the whole family. He thought everyone took their share. What? He really got mad and said I'm blowing this out of proportion and overreacting over a simple meal. I snapped saying how am I overreacting if I'm just trying to communicate about what he did. It was an hour-long drive, so things got heated up. He kept saying I'm calling him a pig for eating like that and should probably get out of his life if it's such a problem because he believes he did nothing wrong and isn't going to change himself. Wow. He persisted on it even though that wasn't my point. I got so mad that he dropped me off at a gas station in the middle of the night and said, think about what I just did. Okay, leave him. Leave him. You do not let somebody drop you off at a gas station in the middle of a night, especially if you're a woman. You're gonna get taken. I mean, in this day and age. What in the world? I was terrified. I collected myself to call an Uber to my sister's house and sobbed the entire night. I told myself after a week things would get clear. He hasn't texted me, nor did I. I can see how I could have reacted differently, but I can't get myself out over the fact that he just left me in a stranded in the middle of the night. Yeah, I feel like if he didn't leave you stranded at a gas station in the middle of the night, maybe, you could fix things, you could communicate better. But I think there's no coming back from that. That's a-hole behavior. Am I overreacting or should I make a move on making things straight? Thank you for everyone for all the comments. I did not expect to get this many reactions. It really helped me to hear other perspectives and seeing how naive I was. Here's an update of what happened after I posted this. I called him to talk about what had happened. The call was answered by a woman's voice who I didn't recognize. Yes, it wasn't his sister. I know her voice very well. Oh my God, I bet he was cheating. When I asked if I could talk to him, she replied, he is in a cardio session. I will tell him to call you later. I was puzzled after this, so I waited for his call, imagining all the worst things, and it turned out to be right. He was cheating on me. My God, that asshole. He told me he had been seeing her for a couple of months. She works as a coach in the gym that he goes to. I searched her up on Instagram, and she's a fitness influencer with a lot of followers. A lot. He said she is a much better match for him and will help him grow his career on social media. Yes, he has a fitness channel too, but with nowhere near the amount of followers she has. She has a much better body than me. When asked why didn't he tell me earlier and ended things right there, he said he knew I would overreact and act emotionally immature like I'm doing right now and wouldn't understand him. What the f*** is wrong with this guy? Does he not understand that he is cheating? He is a cheater. You would not act emotionally immature if you freaked out and went ham batshit crazy on this guy. If you found out. I don't like these people. I don't like these type of people. And I hope karma gets him. I hope karma really gets him. He's packed my things in boxes and kept them in a garage and told me to collect it or not. He doesn't care and ended the call. I started sobbing uncontrolled. My sister was beside me and comforted me. She said his fitness influencer girlfriend might not even know that we had been dating and he's running after her followers, not her. I started saying he couldn't do that, and she replied that I'm in denial and he probably saw the opportunity on Thanksgiving argument and got rid of me, making me think I was the one that caused the end of our relationship. I'm taking my sister and her BF to collect my things this week and probably get closure. I didn't think about that yet. He was probably like, this is a great time to leave her at a gas station, thinking she caused this. He's such an asshole. Bruh, what? LMAO. Everything else aside, the fact that he left you at a gas station should be deal breaker. On to the turkey. Yeah, he was acting like a fool and quite disrespectfully. Common courtesy dictates that you take a single serving for your own dish and leave more for people to get seconds, unless explicitly instructed to finish it off. Let alone this isn't even his family. It's a very entitled thing to do. Yeah, especially there were 10 people there. Like in front of her entire family, he started literally eating like a caveman, eating like an animal. He should have at least asked, hey, can I have the rest of this? I haven't hit my protein limit. Like, I feel like that would have been more acceptable. Or like, eating a portion of it and then asking for the leftovers so he could eat later. Add to that everyone, including yourself, was making comments shows a lack of awareness or a willful defiance. I've been a gym rat. I've been in that mode where you eat clean, whole foods only, and need a ton to at least maintain, if not bulk. I would never crush the reminder of a family meal at my own house, let alone someone else's, without being explicitly told to multiple times. His lack of breakfast is his own problem, or at worst, both of yours, not the entire family. Yeah. He didn't just drop her off at a gas station. He dropped her to think about what she did. What kind of fucked up version of a timeout is that? Not overreacting, get out of there. What? Yeah, no, you're not overreacting. He is an asshole. Alrighty, last one. Am I overreacting to my best friend competing against me? Yeah, let's see. I should have a good idea of this. So my best friend and I worked together after both deciding to take a gap year before college. We have been inseparable for years. She has always been a bit of a pick-me, but I never really cared about it or paid attention. I felt for her since we were young, immature, and insecure, I guess. However, I always thought she'd grow out of it, but years later, and it's only gotten worse. I recently found out that she's been lying about me, talking about me to her BF and essentially putting me down to make herself seem better. She doesn't know that I know this. Also, she's constantly making comments about her weight, how tiny and dainty she is, and how little she eats, etc. While knowing I struggled with ED for years, and it led me to develop a chronic illness. My grandmother also recently passed away due to cancer. However, she could have gotten life-saving treatments if she had recovered from anorexia and gained weight. So to me, Anna is the reason my grandmother passed away. My best friend knows all of this in detail. However, it doesn't stop her. It feels like she wants me to be sick. I don't know what to do. I've never stood up to her before, and I'm scared to, as she'll lie to her coworkers and bid them against me. Am I overreacting, or are her comments malicious? Her comments are malicious. You're not overreacting. That is not a friend. A friend does not talk to you 1 minute and then turn around and talk bad about you to other people the next minute. And also knowing this family history of health issues, and she's basically she's trying to get attention. She's trying to get attention to make herself feel better, to make all the eyes on her, to make her feel like she's better than you. And you just need to leave her. You need to leave her. I've been in this situation too many times. And, not this specific situation, but, the needing to feel superior to others. And I think you just have to, at some point, realize that those types of people are not good for you. And, so what if she like starts talking to your coworkers, or, gets involved with your boss, or, HR or whatever. If that happens, I would be like, this is what's happening. This and this and this and this. She's saying this, which is correlated to this. This is affecting me and my work, and I don't know. I would somehow play it as like tell the truth and be like, this is what's happening. This is how it's affecting me. She's saying this to other coworkers. So I would, I would get out of there. And who cares if she says something bad about you to other people? Other people's opinions don't matter, and real friends would not do that. People who know you would not believe anything that she says, and I hope karma gets her too. So yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you think these people were overreacting. I don't think any of them were overreacting. The situations were pretty, I feel like they were underreacting. So, yeah, while you're down there commenting, click all the buttons. You know what to do. And I hope you guys have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world viewing this. And peace.